Do you remember when we first started talking about slope and we started talking about slope being the rate of change? Remember when we talked about dollars per hour and so on and so forth? And even though the notes back there said you should never put units on for slope, I'm saying, no, we need units for slope. And I'll tell you why right now. Remember, rate of change just means the slope. How are you getting paid? You're getting paid in dollars per hour. So always look for this symbol. That's the rise, that's the run, that's the symbol that tells you you're dealing with rate. That symbol we always call per. Okay? So as soon as something says per, you know and I know we're talking slope. So let's look at a nice little example here. This is a former exam question. All right, it says different volumes of the same liquid were added to a flask on a balance. After each addition of liquid, the mass of the flask was measured. Perfect. The results are shown in the table. Look at this. If you think about this, here's the volume of the liquid. All the different volumes. Here is the mass. Here, 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 and here. Okay, perfect. Problem is, we want to calculate the rate of change. Why? Because we're calculating density, and density is in grams per milliliter. Isn't that cool? So there's the per that tells you, guess what? You're dealing with slope. You got it. Okay, so we can do this. Let's resurrect that beautiful formula that we had for slope. Let's see if you can remember it. The slope formula was y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, a lot of people are saying, hey, am I supposed to memorize that? Well, you know, after you use this enough times, you'll get it. But for right now, let's just say it's on the formula sheet, which it is. You can always refer to the formula sheet when you're doing this. Okay, so here we go. Which one's x? Which one's y? Well, in fact, there's your domain because it is your manipulated or independent variable. This is your range, which is your y, which is your responding variable or dependent variable. So pick two. I'm going to pick these 2 points right there. So my first point is going to be 5, 92.5. There's my first point. My second point is going to be 13, 106.9. There's my 2 points. That's how you do it. So if this is point 1, that's going to be x1 and that'll be y1. If this is point 2, that's going to be x2 and there's going to be y2. Let's figure out the slope. The slope is going to be rise, which is y2 minus y1, 106.9 minus 92.5 over x2, which is 13, minus x1, which is 5. Well, the bottom's easy to do. 13 minus 5, we know, is just plain old 8. But the top might be a little bit more challenging, so okay, let's bring up Mr. Calculator. Here it is. Let's go 106.9, 106.9, okay? Subtract 92.5. Subtract 92.5, okay? We get an answer of 14.4. So this, in fact, is 14.4 over 8. But that still doesn't tell us any of these guys here because there's my A, B, C, D on my test, and I have to choose one of those. Well, yeah, we can just divide them out. There's 14.4 divided by 8, and we get 1.8. That's 1.8 is my grams per milliliter, and if you look, that's answer C right there. Okay, so that's how you do it. That's why I think it's important sometimes to include your units, because you know and I know mass is G, that's G, making this G. This is milliliter, that's milliliter, that's milliliter. So this is going to be grams over milliliter. That's why I think sometimes it's important to include the units. All right, let's look at our next one. Look at this. Again, relationship between the amounts of goods and services taxed, T dollars, and the amount of purchase, A dollars. Calculate the rate of change. Okay, wait a second. Hold on. Let's clean this up. Let's get this stuff out of here so we have a little bit more room to play. Okay, so we're going to call this A is purchase dollars. So you're purchasing this. That means you're deciding how much money to spend. The tax is responding. So that makes this the X value, this the Y value. And again, pick two. I don't know, let's pick these two here. Why not? There's X1, right? There's Y1, there's X2, there's Y2, right? So slope, Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. Y2 is 12 minus Y1, which is 9, over X2, which is 240, minus X1, which is 180. 9 minus 12, I believe, is 3, right? 240 minus 180 is 60. Look at this. You could just figure out the rate, no problem. Bring up the calculator if you want to and go, okay, 3 divided by 60 works out to be, look at that, 0.05. 0.05 or 5% GST. Look at that. There's your tax rate. Again, very simple, using the idea of slope as a rate of change.